Boom. Live stream. Got it.
Future world.
David Byrne, how are you?
Awesome. Tired.
Awesome, tired. What a great combo. Sounds like the combo of a very happy parent.
That's exactly it. A happy parent who's also very busy, burning the candles at both, single at both ends. Killing me.
Dave, you won a race on the weekend. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Just good to be back at events after so many being cancelled over the past 2 years. It was unreal.
How far did you run?
21. I actually wanted to do the longer one, the 70, but I'm very much undercooked. And we'd planned it a long way out, a year out, like we always plan out a lot of our stuff way in advance because of life and how busy we are. And we planned it, so I was committed to doing it, and or at least being there for a holiday. And the problem is, if you're as a runner, you kind of can't miss out. You get that FOMO, and regardless of how fit you are, you always want to race anyway. So I had to toe the line. So no, it was unreal.
Good on you. Nice work.
Thanks.
And I saw, did Willow do her first race, your daughter?
Yep. She's
brilliant.
Not quite 3 yet. She did the Mud Rats race. She's not big on noise. So towards the end, where there's lots of cheering people, she pulled up stumps. And Mum had to drag her to the finish.
That's brutal. Dave, you're going to have to work on that, mate.
I know. She's got the chicken legs, though. She has the chicken legs.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Positive future ahead. Very happy. The Byrne family is back and racing, ladies and gentlemen. Look out. Hey, I thought about this the other day. Ladies and gentlemen and all gender people. That's what I thought. Anyway, got to say it. Dave, mate, look, Buffalo Stampede is not far away. You're the president of Australia and New Zealand Skyrunning, and the Buffalo Stampede is host to the Skyrunning and the Marathon national championships, which is rad. And it also allows people to get their name on a pretty sweet list to potentially get on the Australia New Zealand Skyrunning World Championship team. Now, I said a lot of things just then. Can you explain them a little bit clearer for us, mate? What does all of this mean? Sounds exciting.
Right, firstly, the title Skyrunning President should be changed to dude who just helps organise stuff for Skyrunning.
Okay.
The president sounds horrible.
President, it's not a good name anymore, mate.
No, I prefer God Emperor. But anyway, so Buffalo was the beginning of skyrunning in our region, in Oceania as a whole, to be honest. It's sort of the birthplace of the sport here, and it came about because of, at the time, there was this desire from people to do something beyond traditional trail running. So often we get asked, what is sky running versus mountain running? Now, there are all sorts of technical caveats around, vertical gain over distance, you should achieve a certain altitude and so on. Now, those technicalities are loosened a bit because the vast majority of the world can't really achieve the lofty measures that are required. But Buffalo still ticks all the boxes because, it has a lot of vertical gain, a lot of steep stuff, heaps of technical stuff. But for me, most importantly, it's emblematic of a more extreme version of mountain running or trail running. And it's in a thing that isn't one of the measures of what should be a sky race is the beauty of the location, which I believe it should be a measure. It should be something quite special. And Buffalo brings that element as well. And then so when we come to it being, an event that you can gain selection for world champs for, basically every 2 years there's a world championships. There's also continental champs in the years in between, and there's world youth champs. Now, this year is a pretty massive year for the sport. We have both a world championships and a world youth championship. both of them, you know, have varying distances, vertical kilometre right up to an ultra, and they span 3 days. The events, one's in Italy, one's in Andorra, and Buffalo is our main selection event for the marathon, and realistically also for the other distances other than the vertical kilometre. We always look at those who compete well at Buffalo typically do very well at world champs. We've had guys like Blake Hose, Ben Duffus, Sam McCutcheon. They've all run Buffalo and then done epic at World Skyrunning Champs. So that's why it's our benchmark. Oh, sorry, Mael Backhausen, he's been phenomenal. More so, not so much for his athletic performance, but his boyish good looks that he brought to the event. So it was pretty exciting. Actually, I do remember you swearing. So I remember you swearing at a little kid because it was back in the day when people were doing Pokemon, and the little kid found a Pikachu, and you were so excited that you started swearing. And I was like, this poor little bloody Spanish kid has this big, scary, hairy dude swearing at him. Anyway.
I can't confirm that's a true story, ladies. But yeah, that was a great time. I remember there was a great crew of us actually. We went over to the Skyrunning World Championships in Val de Buy in the no, it's not the Basque Country, but it's over in Spain.
Yeah,
and it was amazing. Yeah, an incredible crew of people. There was yourself. You mentioned Ben Duffus, Blake Hose. I know Lucy Bartholomew was there. Tom was also there. Jill Fowler was also there. Aaron Knight. It was a great, and it was an amazing experience to go there. And it just like, what a way to be able to represent a federation like Skyrunning, and also to represent Australia and New Zealand. Like, it's pretty epic. So it's and so for you being the pres, or the whatever you like to call yourself, mate, like what is it that you feel like is that real draw card for something like Skyrunning when you get to travel overseas to do it, or that you get to experience here in Australia and New Zealand, that is like that real critical difference?
Well, for me, look, to do an event, you have to be rewarded for the experience. Now, most of it's intrinsic. You get value from it where you see, you derive that however you choose. Now, the finish line, that's a reward in itself, getting to the end. The battle to get to the start is a reward. Just starting the bloody thing, But for me, Skyrunning has rewards along the way in a race. Each of those summits that you reach on each of those awesome climbs is a reward. It's an achievement. They're unreal. Like, you look at Buffalo, you've got so many awesome little climbs in there that each one, you tick them off, and you're like, man, one down, next one. But when you get to the top, that's a reward. You feel amazing, and you're stoked, and then you get on with it. That's one of the big things. Your traditional trail race, it's A to B. To me, I reckon there's a whole bunch of A, B, C, D, E, F, and then there's it ends at like G in a sky race, because there's all these cool bits in between. For me, and then when you talk about, say, the international element of it, look, running as a sport, most sports, but running in particular, I do it because of the people I meet and the places it takes me. I love being competitive and all that, but look, I'm getting old and slow, and that is becoming increasingly irrelevant to me. What matters more to me is going to awesome places and sharing the experience with people. And as you said, when you do a World Skyrunning Champs, you make friends for life. You're traveling with a great group of people, all with a shared passion, all that you're sharing the suffering together as well, the experience of these events and the training and so on. That's a bonding element, and then you have a great time. You meet people from all over the world. It's incredibly rewarding, and I think it's something worth aspiring to.
Yeah, I remember actually, and it's also one of those sports, and I know it gets said quite a bit, but it's one of those sports where the line or the interaction between the very best and and everyone else that participates, right, it's non-existent in a way. Like I remember when we were in Spain at the World Championships, we were next door to Luis Alberto Hernandez, and he was the World Championship that year. An incredible athlete, and he's, you know, it's like asking us to borrow pots and stuff. Like it was just and you know, and similar with that, like if you're at Buffalo, there's, you know, you can really interact with everyone there. It's kind of like a very welcoming environment in that sense. And yeah, you like it's really something that I think also it allows people to, like you say, kind of have their own goals, and then just like not compare as much either, because once like, you know, the saying of comparison is the thief of joy. Like if you're trying to compare your performance to everyone else's all the time, well, it's not really about that. Like you can find that personal goals, personal achievements, and then celebrate it as a whole at events like Buffalo.
Yeah, man.
So this year is pretty exciting, mate, because like you said, there's a youth skyrunning world championship, and then the also senior skyrunning world championship. But like, what's exciting you about Buffalo this year? Because it's got a bit of a revamp. It's got the 100K now, which is a lot longer than that traditional 75K. Really takes in a lot more of the Mount Buffalo National Park, and also, you know, the 20K's got a bit of a refresh. The marathon is holding true to its form, and yeah, it's also got the 10K, which gives people a bit of spark on the Friday night. What's exciting you about the festival this year?
Well, look, for me, it's like you said, it's at a revamp. This thing, you know, it's a whole new level where it's at now. The guys, the race director, you know, and his team, they know how to put on an event, and it's not just a single day with a, you know, you turn up, you get your number and you race. This is a festival, you know. This is a multi-day thing where you can run multiple times. You can embrace the whole. There's all sorts of things. There's a movie screening. There's you know, you can hang out at the pub and at the brewery there, and there's always more on than just the running. So it's, you know, it's somewhat of a festival. And like you said, the 100K is unreal, man. It gets you to the places that you really need to go to when you go to Buffalo. It takes you to the best spots, and you know, it's got the potential to be kind of like a benchmark in Australia for competitive 100K races. You know, we've got UTA, but you know, to be honest, stairs are boring as batshit, and Buffalo 100K is much prettier. So, and I won't go on a rant, but I could.
No, yeah.
But no, it's exciting, man. And I think having an event on after the last couple of years that everyone's, you know, had to battle through, I think anyone who can turn up, even if you're not fit, you know, you should just turn up and bloody get amongst it and have some fun and enjoy it, because there's been so few races over the past couple of years that, you know, you should just be embracing any opportunity you get and getting out there and having fun.
100%, mate. Yeah. And I think if you do kind of touch on a pretty, well, you didn't really touch on it, but I'm going to touch on it now. But the topic of, good segue, Maya. The topic of this, I guess, it's a very changing landscape in the world of trail running events. You know, it's becoming a lot more corporatized in a sense. You know, there's some very, very large companies procuring races, creating new races, and, you know, creating these World Series that are very similar to what we would have seen in Ironman quite a few years ago. And now that's kind of getting rolled out in terms of the Ironman triathlon scene. And now that model is also getting rolled out in the trail running scene. And, you know, it's not everyone's got an opinion about that, and it's fine. It's not about who's right, what's wrong, you know, all of that kind of stuff. But skyrunning is separate to that in the sense that it is, it's kind of its own federation, and it's not really associated with those other, like you say, trail races and that kind of format. What do you think about the projection of the sport and that whole corporatized model compared to something like Buffalo, which is still pretty grassroots, like it's still kind of, you know, owned by the locals, kind of for the locals in a sense, you know?
Yeah. No, look, I'm a big believer in supporting, as you're saying, local events or locally owned and run events. While there is a place for the corporate monsters, you know, as a ethical trail runner, I believe you should support the littler events. Most of these big events that, you know, they might be owned by, you know, a foreign multinational company. Look, that's not necessarily an issue, but I think as much money should stay as local as possible, because that's only a positive for everyone. And I think the experience you have at the smaller events is typically better. There's less fluff and noise. There's more substance, less style, you know. So they don't go for beads and trinkets, you know. They go for that holistic experience and connection with community, which has far more depth to it, and there's legacy value to supporting smaller events or community or locally owned events versus money going to shareholders or whatever. So look, and as a sport, look, skyrunning, they're all independent races. There is no you know, the Skyrunning Federation internationally doesn't own a single event. It's a governing body like the IAAF or whatever. And their goals are quite lofty. They want the sport to be in the Olympics. Some form of trail running and more extreme mountain running will eventually be there. It's all about sorting out governance and doping control and the like, which is it's a very complex and slow process, because you're dealing with you know, 100+ countries have to toe the line, so it gets quite challenging in that regard. But yeah, so you know, independent races, they the only thing that the Skyrunning Federation does is essentially ask that you are safe, well organised, and have lots of bloody vertical gain in your races. That is all.
Mate, so Dave, you've run at Buffalo quite a number of times. I know that you're quite a fan of doing the double up. So quite often you've run the 20K race, and then you've backed it up and you've ran the marathon as well. And I dare say you've been quite successful at doing that. I think you've won the 20K before. You've come runner-up in the 20K a couple of times. You've come runner-up in the marathon a couple of times, and then you came equal first in the marathon as well. And so that's not bad. That's pretty good. It's pretty good weekend out, mate. What are your recommendations for any enthusiasts? Yeah.
Look, I reckon you should do more than one race if the opportunity arises, if you've got the time and energy, because it's just worth it. It's unreal. It's fun. And, you know, once you saw, and you just get on with it. And, you know, if you're going to go all the way to Bright, why just turn up and run, you know, one race when you can, you know, run on a Friday and then a Sunday or whatever. Yeah. And so, look, the big thing about Buffalo is managing the descending more so than anything else, because that's what does all the damage. You know, going uphill, it's hard on the engine, but you don't recover from that, the damage the descents do. They beat the crap out of you. So run them smart, you know, and don't force them. People get overexcited and bomb the descents, and then they explode. And once you're gone, you're gone. Once your quads are smashed, you're not running uphill, you're not running downhill. So save your legs and save them for the second half. Super conservative early on is the key, I believe, to doing well there. You know, I mean, I like to, the shorter races. Yeah, look, you might be able to go to the front and out-suffer everyone, but that's it. Anything, the marathon and beyond, you're dreaming. You want to chill out, enjoy the scenery early on, and then grind.
Right. Sounds like a great way to spend a weekend, mate. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Like this is the first. Well, it's kind of the first year that it's been officially announced or officially offered that people can do that combination of either the 10K on the Friday, 20K Saturday, and the marathon on the Sunday. So that kind of 3-day, 3-day stage race almost, where you're tackling those three. And then also there's the 10K, the 100K, and then the marathon next day as well. Which there's like a good handful of people, more than awesome. 2 hands worth of people are rocking up there. So that's pretty exciting. I think it's that whole concept of a grand slam, where you do them all is it's amazing how much that catches on.
Yeah, man. I think you're getting more bang for your buck. I would go and do the grand slam this year if I was fit enough to survive it. But because it'd be unreal, man. To be honest, I'd love to do the 100. I'd love to do the 100. It looks incredible. So anyone that's still sitting on the fence, bloody enter the thing, because it would be amazing. Can you still enter?
Of course you can.
I assume you could.
You still enter.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
anyone sitting on the fence should be doing the 100 because that looks unreal, man.
I think I also want to quiz you a little bit more about your your athletic ability, and there's no, it's not a secret that you were an exceptionally good younger runner back in the day, and you've obviously been able to carry that ability of running to where you are now. But I think what's incredible is you spend a lot of time training, probably 98% of your training in around the streets of Sydney. So you've got the streets of Sydney, which are pretty well manicured and flat, and you're talking about the ability that you've had in terms of running successfully at Buffalo. So how do you do that? How do you train for epically mountainous races, hilly races in flat Sydney?
Yeah, look, I think an engine's an engine. The fitter you get, the better. There's biomechanical things that you obviously need with the really steep stuff that I'm open about the fact that historically I've lacked the capacity to run well on super steep stuff. And then it's all about strategy after that, because you've got to you run to your strengths. And I think a mistake a lot of people make is they fight what they're not good at. And you get negative. So it's easy to get super negative and go, man, I'm suffering, this sucks on the super steep stuff, because you're crap at it. Or you can just get to a really steep hill and go, well, I'm pretty crap at this, I'm just going to chill and I'm going to relax. But then when I get to the flat stuff, I'm going to run 3-minute 20Ks or whatever you have to bridge the gap, or to do what you're good at well. That's what I always tell people I coach. I say, what you're good at well, and what you're not good at, embrace it, because there is no point fighting it. Technical stuff, a lot of people really fight it, and they hate it, and they they're trying to pick their way through stones, and they're getting ugly negative face on. And you should just be like, man, whatever. I'm like, as I used to say, I was Bambi on ice, but you get, but if you don't fight it, you're burning a lot less energy. But then when you get to the stuff you're good at, do it well. And the other thing I'll tell everyone is don't make any mistakes. So you've got to, everything that you can control, you have to control and execute. So you can control getting your fueling right and getting your hydration right. You can control not making a wrong turn. You can control not falling over. That's all about concentration. So the more of the variables that you remove that you perceive as being out of control, the more things you control and the fewer mistakes you make, the better you'll perform. So it's sort of, that's the approach I take. Look, I run around Redfern and that, which is where I live, in the city most of the time. And, and like you said, it's vertical in training. Yeah, look, it matters. It can help, particularly on the super specifics of it, but embrace your strengths and at the same time, embrace your weaknesses.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant, mate. Yeah. Benny Duff has touched on the same thing. It's fitness is key. Like if you're fit, then you can really give yourself the best chance of having a good day out there. And I love that that comment you made about screwing up your face and not relaxing. It's amazing. It's just, you know, the first person that pops to mind is Kipchoge, right? When he's running, his face is relaxed. And I know there's been numerous conversations about that, and it's been mentioned a lot of times, but you know, like sometimes you just gotta remember, like, embrace that inner Kipchoge. Just like you just gotta relax, you know, like it's amazing though, it works.
Look, it's the most cliched, horrible thing. Well, I'm going to say it's horrible, but the whole bloody smile and you'll enjoy it and you'll run better thing is actually true. I used to bag people like you out for saying that sort of stuff, but it's actually true. If you're smiling and relaxed, you're going to perform far better. And even if you don't use performance is in a quantitative metric of time, if performance is enjoyment, you're going to enjoy it a lot more because you're smiling and having a great bloody time.
Yeah, absolutely. And so your recommendations, mate, for getting a little bit more involved in skyrunning side of things. I know that you know, Buffalo has Skyrunning Championship the Australian sky distance and also marathon distance kind of qualification races. Yep. And then also KMR, the Kanani Mountain Run down in Hobart. They've got the VK, so they've got a VK route, which is quite cool. That's a possibility now in Australia. I think there's been a couple of tries at the old VK, but this one looks like it's pretty good. And so that's happening actually the weekend after Buffalo is when they're doing the vertical K. But so yeah, you were saying, mate, that so my question to you is how do people get a little bit more aware of it, get a little bit more involved, and how do they reach out to yourself?
Well, look, there's the Skyrunning website, skyrunninganz.com.au. I mean, we've got a calendar of events. There are a lot more events that would be on there that we don't put on there. We try and limit the number because there's no point having 100 races on there. And, you know, support those races. Those races are the ones we look at for selection for championships and so on. We're also looking to create a bit of a development squad whereby we foster sort of younger, aspiring, you know, sky runners, and we create more of a support base for them. You know, get on down to Tassie, do the VK. It's the first vertical kilometre we've ever had. There's been other races you've said, but they're not vertical kilometres. This is the first one. In Europe, vertical kilometres are epic and awesome. If you've ever done one or seen them, they're unreal. I think I might be one of the only people to ever not finish one. So, which is a bit of a tragic tale, but we won't go into that one. But, you know, get down to Tassie, support that event, support, you know, all the other ones. New Zealand, there's a whole stack of races too. And next year, we're probably going to increase the number of events. We're going to double it because there's a lot of events that want to be on the calendar. And I feel when we've looked at the numbers and the spread of people who do which different events and so on, they're not going to cannibalize each other and that. So, yeah, get amongst it.
Awesome, mate. Yeah, I think it's definitely, and it's, you know, if it doesn't really seem like your thing, but you know someone else that might be keen, like, highly recommend you know, telling them about it, getting them involved. But I think, you know, getting back to that, supporting local, getting around great people doing great events in good places, you know, that combination is an absolute winner.
Yeah, man.
I was going to say, mate, there haven't been any questions pop up. I know Jacinta is just stoked on the happiness is fast hashtag. I think that could be an official Buffalo Stampede. Official Buffalo Stampede. I don't know, promotional tool. Happiness is fast. I think that is. We're going to have to steal that, Jacinta. Screenshot that. That's good. That's good. Quick, I'm going to claim that right now. But look, mate, I think you know, to keep it nice and succinct, and to make sure that you get off to the kids again, and you know, you've probably got to get in some good sleep this week after your race on the weekend, and make sure you're ready for the.
Actually, I have work to do.
Oh well, that's good. And I hope you are. I hope you're resting up for the next one, mate. But is there anything else you want to say, Dave? Because also, like, you know, you're brought on here as a president of Skyrunning, talk about that side of things. But, you know, you've nailed epic races before. I've seen you out at Tarawera a number of times racing out there. I remember you coming second there to Jonas Bud back in the day, and that was incredible. Like, I think you've run second at Tarawera twice. Is that right?
But I'll take it. I've been second once, but let's just pretend I was twice. Now, I came fourth behind Jim Walmsley, Jonas Booth.
Fourth.
Yeah, that old mate. Yeah.
Second and fourth, and then you came seventh or something.
Yeah, let's not talk about that one.
No, because that was epic. I remember being out there, and yourself, Ash Watson, Cody Reed, and Reese Edwards, the four of you just stormed off. You took off. It was an epic race. You guys led the charge, and it was so awesome to see, because there was just no mucking around. It was we're going to sprint this 100K, and whoever falls off the horse is falling off the horse, and whoever stays on is going to win. Reese Edwards won that day, which was epic. 2:14 marathoner, and I believe you called it that weekend. But you crashed hard. Like, you crashed pretty hard, and I saw you at the later stages of the race. But you finished, and that was something that I didn't expect. I don't even know if you expected it, but you still came through in seventh, which was epic, like so good. But you really like grinded home, and that was a sufferfest for you. Like, how did you manage to pull yourself together to get all the way to the end after just going so hard so early?
Yeah, look, to be honest, I wanted to DNF, and I was coming into I don't know, about 70K mark or something, ready to pull out, and then an old bloke, Maori guy, and I've got Maori heritage. He said to me, "Good on you, mate. You're doing your family proud." And I looked at him and shit. Now I've got to finish.
So good.
So that, yeah. So he basically spoiled my day, because I would have stepped off and gone for a swim in the lake. No, it was awesome. It was unreal. It's one of the best memories I've got. Look, some of the best memories you get from racing, and you'll find it at races like Buffalo, are the ones where you don't run well. The best race I've ever done, and like I should say, Buffalo is the best race I've ever done, but was the Eiger, and in Switzerland. I had a bloody terrible day. I went out, was at the pointy end, and just didn't have a good day, and was just crushed. But when I finished, but the experience of being there and suffering through these incredible mountains, and that was just mind blowing. And it's the same. That's why I said with skyrunning, there's multiple rewards. It's not just A to B. It's all the stuff along the way, and you know, and that's why your bad days can still be unreal, and it's worth getting on with it. You know. So that's my tip for Buffalo. Just get on with it, no matter how you feel, because you'll be super stoked.
Sweet, yeah, love it, mate. I do remember you mentioning something about your dad when you were finishing, and I know that bloke on the course wasn't your dad, but you were like, I remember you saying something about it, and how he'd be stoked with you finally finishing or something, a race that you weren't going to.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. It's
it was good. Loved it.
It was, yeah. I was surprised when I saw you come to the finish line. Anyway, reminiscing. Look, mate, this is a great question. Caroline Duffus has a question, and I'm so stoked because it's going to balance out things a little bit here. But she said, have you got any shoe recommendations?
Yeah. North Face shoes.
Oh, really?
No. Look, when it comes to footwear, people overthink it. All that matters is that they're comfortable. If you're comfortable, you're going to run bloody well, mate. I ran in Adidas Adizero racing flats the year I was equal first. So
So
when they're
good.
racing flat, it's mate, if the shoes are comfortable, you're going to run well. I think trail runners have a habit of overthinking stuff and over using too much technical crap. Mate, wear shoes that are comfy and you'll run well, and wear a pack that's comfy. Look, it doesn't matter whatever brand, it's just got to be comfortable. Comfort is everything. And you'll perform well. I think people overthink rock plates and overthink bloody tread depth and all this sort of stuff. It doesn't matter. Feel good on the start line and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Have you seen that gentleman that has been knocking out some pretty decent marathon times in Crocs?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it's weird, but
he's comfortable, man.
It kind of speaks to you. He's feeling good.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
He's feeling good, light and comfy. I think it just speaks to your point a little bit, you know.
Yeah, wear whatever's comfortable.
Yeah, 100%. Especially on the longer stuff, you know, like it's just you've got to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's spot on, mate. 100%. Thanks, Caroline. I think you nailed it on that one. Well, Mr. Byrne, I want to thank you for your time. I'm going to keep it short and sharp. We look forward to catching you out at Buffalo, hopefully with the family. Get the kids in the kids race, because there is also a kids race. There's also a 5K race. It's going to be stacked.
It'll just be me. Probably just be me.
Oh,
I'd love to drag them along, but I don't think they can. But I'll try.
All right. Brilliant, mate. Well, thanks so much, Dave. And as you mentioned before, people can hit you up at the Skyrunning website and yeah, ask any more questions about that whole situation and federation. So yeah, mate, thanks so much for touching base with us here, and we look forward to catching you on that amazing first weekend in April, mate.
Yeah, thank you. And quickly, I reckon everyone should thank all these bloody race directors, because all these race directors out there have had a pretty hard couple of years where they've had events and they've been cancelled. They've copped the flogging from people wanting refunds and all this stuff, and they've kept fighting and kept these events alive. A lot of events could have easily fallen on their head, which happened in Europe and North America. And guys like the guys from Buffalo are bloody legends for keeping the dream alive, for people like us to be able to go out there and have fun, you know? So yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks a lot, mate. And volunteers. Thank you, volunteers as well.
Yeah, them too.
Them too. All right, mate. Take it easy,
Thank
Davo.
you. See you,
Ciao.
mate. Bye.